Tonight, the Chief Education Officer speaks after a brutal video of students in a fight with two grown women goes viral. Ras Bongo wisely warns politicians not to take Rastafarians for fools after grand pronouncements about cannabis decriminalization with little action. And should business owners be strapping up in light of armed robberies, some turning deadly? We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 12th of November 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM Radio. You can watch via our website, www.caribbeanhottv.com, or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Police have confirmed that they have two people in custody in connection to the shooting of Monrepo businessman Andrew Joseph. The 76-year-old was robbed and shot over the weekend and has since passed away from the injuries sustained. The public relations officer of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Corporal Ann Joseph, gave the details.
About 7 p.m. on Saturday, November 9th, 2019, officers attached to the Criminal Investigations Department at the Meekwood Police Station responded to a report of a robbery in Monrepo, Meekwood. On arrival, the officers encountered Andrew Joseph, a 76-year-old resident of Monrepo, Meekwood, and he had an apparent gunshot injury to the abdomen. He was conveyed to the St. Jude Hospital via ambulance, where he was admitted. On Monday, November 11th, 2019, about 6 p.m., Andrew Joseph succumbed due to the injuries he sustained at the medical facility. A post-mortem examination is scheduled for a later date. Two individuals are currently in police custody in relation to this incident.
Joseph's wife and a friend were in the vicinity when the shooting took place and ran for cover. His wife has lamented the senseless killing of such a hard-working man. In other news, a shocking brawl involving adults and students of a secondary school on Island was recently caught on video and has since gone viral. The incident has sparked a response from the Chief Education Officer. The CEO says this type of escalation in violence is unacceptable. More in this report from Solange Alfred.
A now viral video depicting violence and chaos at a local business establishment involving secondary school students and two adults has made its way to the desk of the Chief Education Officer, Fiona Meyer. Meyer says the incident brings to light the need for systematic conflict resolution at all levels of society.
It is unfortunate that this incident did happen. What we really want to see as a society is that adults, persons in positions of responsibility, parents, members of our school community, our teachers, our administrators, also model the kind of behaviors that we want our students to be part of. As I said to you, it's unfortunate that this incident did happen, but moving forward, it is to say, what corrective measures, what restorative practices can we look at? Because it is easy to look at students and to say, yes, they've done something wrong, but how can we correct that behavior moving forward so that when there are issues of conflict, both adults and children know how to react, how to behave differently. And as a society, what kinds of behaviors we will accept, we will tolerate, we desire, as opposed to the reactive methods of lashing out and of dealing with conflict in an aggressive manner.
Reports indicate the cause of the brawl was a case of bullying on the part of one of the students towards another student. Claims are that the two women intervened and were attacked. Meyer notes measures are being enforced within schools to ensure a zero tolerance to bullying.
We are looking at the bullying issue. It is a situation whereby, as I said, it is really about what values we have. It is easy to highlight and to say it is bullying. We do not accept bullying, we do not tolerate bullying, there's zero tolerance for bullying. So that isn't even a question that we want to think about in our school society. But we do know that issues do come up, and again, how best we can collectively. And we're speaking again, parents, we're speaking again about school administrators, about teachers, about people in the society. How best can we deal with those situations and reinforce what it is that makes us people? You know, friendly people and outgoing people, pleasant people that wouldn't want to be part and parcel of bullying. So if we see issues, how do we do the professional bits? How do we do the compassionate bits? How are we empathetic? How do we deal with the situation rather than focusing on only the individual and saying, well, this child's a bully. This is not what we're about. We're about, again, correcting and restoring that kind of positive behavior that we want to see.
Maya closed off her statements with a quote from the late great Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." End quote. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. A brutal crime against a teen offender shocked the nation in October. A 16-year-old girl was assaulted by 3 inmates at the Bordelais Correctional Facility. The National Security Minister had made some special accommodations for the teen, and it was deemed safe to have her at Bordelais. The director of the facility says he is looking forward to the completion of investigations surrounding the assault of the teen. The incident occurred in the late hours of Sunday, the 13th of October, when the 3 males allegedly attacked the 16-year-old in her solitary confinement. Reportedly, the male inmates were able to access the unguarded female via the medical facility, which is situated in close proximity to the female wing of the prison. Hilary Herman says he's waiting on the findings of the investigation to divulge more information.
It's in the hands of the police. I have not seen the medical report yet. However, I'm hoping that this closes here real soon because we need to bring attention to the young lady's plight.
Right. And what about the men involved in this situation?
Well, again, we need to wait for the investigation. Unfortunately, until that is closed, I really have no more information.
According to Herman, there is more to the matter than meets the eye.
Well, on the surface, I will tell you that what the initial report is not what it is. Okay, there's been several different versions of the story, both from the victim and from the surrounding inmates. So we're trying to verify that we have the correct story.
Although it has not been officially confirmed by law enforcement, family of the teen have indicated that the assault was of a sexual nature. The chairman of the Caribbean Rastafari organization, Bongo Wisely Tafari, says the Rastafarian community will not be treated like fools for anyone's political gain. He says the pronouncements by politicians on either side of the divide are of no comfort to them because neither party has put those words into action. Things which he says have for years been proposed by the Rastafarian community are now being proposed as game changers for political traction by both parties.
Ras Bongo Wisely is listening closely to pronouncements by both sides of the political divide on the issue of cannabis decriminalization. Leader of the opposition Philip J. Pierre announced recently that an SLP government will ensure that Rastafarians are in the forefront of a cannabis industry and that possession of cannabis convictions will be expunged. Ras Bongo Wisely, who is the chairman of the Caribbean Rastafarian Organization, says the Rastafarian community will not be swayed by sweet nothings, but will be monitoring closely the actions taken on either side of the political divide.
As you know, a promise is a comfort to a fool, and Rastafari is no fool. So politicians will always be politicians. Politicians like to see what they think will either keep them in office or what they think will return them to office. So, the statements by Mr. Pierre, well, it is what it is. He's said it, and every man is responsible for their own words, So if when he returns to office, he does not fulfill those words, well, the judgment will be upon his head. So we are not swayed as such by promises from politicians.
He says the Rastafarian community has for years recommended the removal of convictions imposed on individuals caught with cannabis once legalization goes into effect in St. Lucia. Wisely notes that two major difficulties posed for individuals with a cannabis conviction include visa approvals and job security.
These has been the recommendations emanating from the cannabis movement to both the government as well as the opposition party. I may say that it is not limited to the Rastafari community alone, but to all citizens who have a ganja record, be it as a farmer or as a user. All of them, the record need to be expunged if cannabis is to become a legal industry in this country.
As it stands, the Rastafarian community is not satisfied with the pace and development of legalization of marijuana in St. Lucia.
Rastafari generally is not satisfied with the approach taken by government presently. And I say that because in St. Lucia, we have the cannabis movement, which is the most vocal advocacy group in the region when it comes to cannabis reform. We've been on the stage from early 1990s until now. Yet, in our discussions with ministers, we hear that they are still claiming they need more information in order to make a decision. What we realize is that other islands have gone ahead based on the CARICOM cannabis report. St. Lucia also has that report, and yet they have failed to make a move in any direction.
Wisely did note the inclusion of the Rastafarian community in the Cannabis Committee and says the island needs to move forward on the matter. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
The St. Lucia Employers Federation is calling on the government to appoint a new labor commissioner in the Labor Department. Executive Director Joseph Alexander says that an increasing backlog of cases and continued employee unrest are clear indications of the need for the position to be filled. Shaka Wooding reports.
The Labor Department has been without a Deputy Labor Commissioner since February 2019. Executive Director of the St. Lucia Employers Federation, Joseph Alexander, says that this prolonged lack of appointment is simply unacceptable.
Right now, there is no labor commissioner. The last labor commissioner went on pre-retirement leave in February of this year, and from what I understand, his tenure ended in September. We're now in November. So there was a great deal of time for government to have appointed a labor commissioner. Under the labor code, you shall have a labor commissioner. So I would like the government, one, to resolve that issue of the labor commissioner.
Alexander says that without a labor commissioner, no member of the Labor Department can be fully functional in their duties, regardless of Labor Minister's intervention.
Well, the labor commissioner operates the code. He implements it. The minister does not. He does not have the power. The minister's power is to set policy and sometimes help in intervention. So if two parties have an issue and it cannot be resolved by the labor commissioner, then he may ask the labor minister to intervene. But that's as far as he goes. The labor commissioner is the most important person when it comes to labor laws.
Alexander underscores the overall negative impact of this action on the workforce. He says that no cases of employee unrest can be effectively addressed by the Labor Department without this much-needed appointment. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacka Wooding.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, with business people under attack, should they bear arms? No applause for St. Lucia on ease of doing business, and efforts to keep the UK tourism market intact after a few hits. That and more when we return.